remember that they're changing my voice. So now that you see the picture full screen, I want you to imagine somebody trying to outmaneuver me. Keep in mind, I grew up training to play basketball with an emphasis on footwork. The emphasis wasn't on shooting so much. It wasn't on dribbling. It was specifically on outmaneuvering with an emphasis on footwork. And then around 16 years old or so, I switched to martial arts, where I quickly became a grand champion. And my legs were very strong, very fast, very precise, very coordinated. And eventually I worked my way up to world record speed, striking with all my heart, with focus, moral intensity, striking against the spirit of the system that was oppressing me, and in the name of God Almighty, striking in a way that reflects my broken heart, my desire to do God's will, my desire to take my rightful place at God's right hand and to do His will. Other people cannot say the same thing. Never in human history has there been another person who's known to have done the same thing. Right? If they did martial arts, it was in this system or that system. Okay? There's no records of, say, Narmer of Egypt having his heart broken and growing up rejected. He grew up in a community that was very much like him. Though he was transcendent, they were the same race. I'm different from everybody, not just racially, but where it matters most, spiritually speaking. And so that's very significant there. Where Bruce Lee was agnostic, where people who do kung fu in a Buddhist monastery, they're Buddhist. And these are people with a different mentality, a different state of being, a different way of thinking. When they strike with chi energy and with Buddhist philosophy and with whatever moves them beyond that. I strike with focus, moral intensity from its source, from God. I strike out of a certain moral vengeance on the spirits that have prevented me from having my soulmate, that have caused this world so much hardship. So as recently in the news, there was this shooting, right? And the shooter, his name was Robert Westman. He had changed his name to Robin Westman. Now, ask yourself, is it a coincidence that I'm on the West? And I talk about how Marshall is marital scramble and I Christ in the bridegroom, which is an argument that transcends every other argument you heard in regards to Christianity, unless it was coming from me. I go beyond the churches, the mosques, the synagogues. My vision of God, my explanation, I say it's greater than just people going to church. It's greater than Joel Osteen and the Pope. It's greater than the imams and the Muslim teachers. It's greater than the rabbis. My vision of God and His Spirit, my truth goes beyond what they claim is truth. I say it's a Royal African Falcon martial art order that goes beyond Martin Luther King, who goes beyond all of them. That argument is the pinnacle of monotheistic arguments, and is the greatest monotheistic argument that will ever be made among people in the flesh. The argument comes from God. I'm not the one who made martial arts, it was God. I'm not the one who made human beings, it was God. I'm not the one who made love, it was God. The argument is clarifying what God is saying. It is God's argument. Psalm 2, the one God set apart, says in Psalms to sit at His right hand until He makes my enemies a footstool for my feet. The bronze feet in Revelation, the bronze wall in Jeremiah. The division between heaven and earth. Heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool. Trotting on the winepress, trampling the enemies of God. Dashing the enemies of God to pieces, like pottery, with the scepter of justice from God Almighty. You see people, they seek to interfere to their extreme disgrace. Your government orders people to interfere with my videos at times like this because they know I'm in the Spirit of God. You're on the side of people who think they can use mere geek science technology, scientist technology, to attack the Spirit of God when His Son is conveying the message. Can you imagine being proud of that feeble spirit that you people are in? Those feeble tactics? Can you imagine being on their side and not mine? You don't need to imagine because you are. Those who are not with me are against me. Whoever does not gather with me scatters. Whoever doesn't have the heart to obey God through me is my enemy. And every day 189,000 of them die. So when that mass shooter, terrorist, whatever you want to call him, shot up that church, okay, he said, that he hates Donald Trump or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He was transgender. He said, where is your God? And that question would have been answered if they were giving me my rightful place. That I'm evidence that God exists. And white supremacists, Jewish supremacists, and LGBT supremacists that I've been warning you about are the ones persecuting me. And then one of them shoots up a church, and you still don't understand that I'm right, and that the right thing to do is to give me my rightful place publicly. How many people that society has driven crazy with their white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacist philosophies must shoot people up, and people in corporations, how many of them must massacre people with their policies, starving people to death? 9 million people starve to death every year. They are the worst forms of evil, the biggest terrorists. They're economic terrorists. They're satanic economic terrorists who are social norm fanatics, who massacre people whether or not they do what they say, because they're sadistic, because they're demonic, because they do not have a deeper understanding of life. So when you prevent me from having my rightful place, you prevent people from having a deeper understanding of life, and therefore you're part and parcel with mass murder, mass rape, mass poisoning, mass idolatry, mass theft, mass human trafficking, mass assault, mass fuming, mass poisoning, etc.